Welcome back to another episode of Bucks Latest presented by FanArch. As always, I'm your host, Dean Simon. And before we get into everything, please make sure to leave a like, leave a comment down below, and subscribe. We are still on the road to 2,000 subscribers. So if that's a journey that you want to join along on, please press that big red subscribe button down below. And please turn on post notifications so you don't miss out on future videos and future Milwaukee Bucks updates. All right, so 5-2 on the year. The Milwaukee Bucks defeat the Indiana Pacers in Miles Turner's return to Indy to Gainbridge Fieldhouse. 117-115. Of course, we're going to get into everything to do with Giannis and the rest of the group, but Giannis is 33 13 and 5, I believe he finished with, and the game-winning fadeaway jumper over Aaron Nesmith on the left elbow or a little bit further than that to give the Bucks the win at the buzzer. Gave the crowd the kind of silencer, the shush celebration, and then straight into the big boos because it was just all night long that the Pacers, the boo birds would come out whenever Miles Turner would touch the ball, whenever he check into the game and whatever. And Giannis seemed to have taken that personally, and he was kind of fired up on an individual level because of how the crowd had reacted to Miles Turner, just making any kind of impact in this game, which he did start out pretty hot, knocked down his first two 3-point attempts, if I remember correctly, and finished with like 5 blocks. Miles Turner was. The thing is, I want to say he was pretty awesome on the defensive end, but then again, he let Isaiah Jackson go for 21 and 10. I think it was 21 and 10, a double double. I should probably look at these stats a little bit beforehand. But yes, 21 and 10 in 29 minutes for Isaiah Jackson. So that's something. Also, Pascal Siakam went for 32 and 8 assists. Miles himself finished with 9, 7 boards, and 5 blocks on 3 for 7 shooting, 2 of 6 from 3-point range. AJ Green with 13 points, 4 of 8 on threes. Gary Trent Jr. really struggled from a catch and shoot perspective in this game, though he did finish with a +8 in the plus minus department just because of his defensive intensity and the fact that he was just out there making things happen regardless of his shooting difficulties. 3 for 10 from 3 on the game. Also, another pretty great Kyle Kuzma game just because of his ability to attack off ball, and he was just making good decisions all around. And again, he wasn't settling for jump shots. He was getting all the way to the rim and really forcing the issue. And of course, that's where you're going to find Kyle Kuzma at his best, when he's not, again, just forcing jump shots, when he sees that his threes aren't going down, when he's getting all the way to the bucket, putting his head down. Cole Anthony came in, hit a few pretty big shots towards the close of this game, finished with 11, 4, and 4 on 4 of 8 shooting from the field, 3 of 4 from 3. Not as effective of a Bobby Portis game as you might like, but regardless, he also gave you 8 points, 2 rebounds, and assists, 3 of 7 from the field. Amir Coffey played sparingly in this one, a little bit less than 4 minutes in this one, but it made sense. Also, Torian Prince was a pretty major factor for this Bucks team off the bench when it started to the momentum started to lean in the Pacers direction heavily. Torian Prince was there to, knock down a big three or play a part in a key defensive stop. He was there for those kinds of momentum or run breaking plays. But Ryan Rollins also as well, he was seemingly again trying to settle in, though he did finish with a -4 in the plus minus. I'm a very big plus minus guy, and though some may feel that it's not as important of a stat, and it very well might not be. I just feel like it's good to tell who was in the game at what points when they let the Pacers go on certain runs. But basically, this game was just a complete replay through the first and second quarters, essentially, of the game against Sacramento, where the Bucks started red hot from 3-point range, and then in the second quarter started to kind of falter a little bit, and the Pacers, just because they had still shot pretty well through the first and second quarters, just through the first half in general, they were able to kind of claw back and make it a game after being down by 9. I think it was 31-22 at the end of the first quarter. So it was just the fact that the Bucks were still able to keep up their shooting percentage in the second half, still knocked down their threes, but there were plenty of extenuating circumstances and factors that came into this game and almost had a hand in the Bucks losing a game where they shot almost 20% better from 3-point range than the Indiana Pacers, who finished just 8 of 33 from 3-point range, 24% on the game compared to Milwaukee's 20. They knocked down 23s once again of 47 for 42.6% as a team, 3-point shooting percentage as a collective. So we're gonna get into basically all the things that came into this game and really had a hand in the Bucks almost blowing this one. And I think maybe it could be attributed to the several dust ups that happened during this game. The crowd started to really get into it, like more than just kind of booing Miles Turner when he got the ball. Like the crowd really did play a huge factor in this game. But also in the second half, there was just a lot of defensive miscommunications, and then again, like the 3-point shooting somewhat in the third quarter started to go awry. But then in the fourth, they had a huge stretch. I believe it was in the fourth quarter, like towards the beginning or middle stages of the fourth quarter, where they made, I believe, 8 3-pointers in a row. The Bucks did, to kind of keep the Pacers at bay, but still, this defense was just not up to par with regard to keeping the Pacers out of the paint, and just again not allowing them to kind of force the issue and get to the free throw line. And that's something we're also going to be getting to. But the interior defense just has to be better, flat out. There were several plays from, it kind of seemed like night and day from the first half to the second, where you had Aaron Nesmith driving in on Giannis, and then Miles Turner was there to right there to back him up and swat his shot. And it seemed as though their communication and rotations were maybe not on point in the first half, but it was definitely a lot more clean and cohesive than in the second. It seemed like things just started to fall apart a little bit, and it just, you know what? I guess we can just go to it right now. Free throws. I wanted to get into a couple of stats here that I feel are pretty key, because after this game, the NBA, the NBA.com, all the stats refreshed after this one, after the Bucks went 5-2. And with the updated stats, I have some ranks I want to announce. The Milwaukee Bucks are number one in the NBA in field goals made, despite not being really anywhere close to the top in field goal attempts, just great efficiency. Number three in field goal percentage, number two in 3-pointers made, and number two in 3-point percentage. But if we want, so those are the reasons why they're 5-2, or at least why they've been able to hold out for these last couple of games and grab a couple of huge wins. But the downsides of this: number 26 in rebounding, number 20 in opponent offensive rebounds, and really that could come from the game against Sacramento Kings with Domantas Sabonis and Russell Westbrook going crazy on the O boards. Number 28 though, oh my goodness, I felt like I was about to sneeze. Number 28 in free throws made, and dead last in the NBA, number 30 in free throw percentage with a 69% shooting clip from the free throw line. Obviously not good, and especially when you are allowing, once again in this game, for the Indiana Pacers to get to the free throw line 38 times and knock down 29 of their 38 free throws at 76%, which isn't even great. The Bucks knocked down 13 of their 22 free throws, 59% from the game, and the Pacers made 16 more free throws than the Bucks. That was the turning point. That was the turn of the tide in this game. That's what almost led the Pacers to come out with this win, because especially in the fourth quarter, down the stretch, it just, once again, like in the Kings game, just became a parade to the free throw line for the Indiana Pacers. And the Bucks have to figure out a way to defend without fouling. And these are games against guys like Domantas Sabonis and Pascal Siakam, who are very good at exaggerating contact and kind of flailing and whatever, and playing to the refs and being able to get those calls, which I do believe to a degree. Like you can't just hate on guys that are labeled as foul baiters, like the Shea Gilgeous Alexanders of the world or whatever. I do believe there is a certain level of skill that goes into that, the foul baiting aspect. But going against guys like Pascal Siakam, who are just going to throw themselves to the floor, the Bucks, especially on the interior, they just need to be smarter with regard to playing defense without fouling. It comes to being as simple as that, especially against a Pacers team like this, even without Halliburton, without Obi Toppin, Benedict Mathurin, TJ McConnell, all of Andrew Nemhard, all of their key guys. Even without them, they're still under the same head coach. They're following the same game plan. They're still going to run 100 miles an hour and go 100% every single play, running up and down the floor. And with their transition attack, they're going to be trying to get to the rim with a full head of steam. And the Bucks just have to be better at just staying vertical and playing defense without fouling, not putting hands in the cookie jar. Cole Anthony has been a victim of that throughout the beginning stages of this season, though he has still played pretty stellar defense. And the Bucks big guys have also fell victim to this, and not just the big guys, but Gary Trent Jr. has also been kind of a victim of this. Ryan Rollins in certain instances, especially like in the Warriors game against Steph Curry, and that's another guy that's prone to be trying to draw contact. Um, the Bucks just have to be smarter on defense with regard to playing defense and not fouling it. It's really all it is because now I do believe truly that they lost the game to the Sacramento Kings because of rebounding, allowing offensive rebounds, especially, and the free throw disparity. And now this was almost a ridiculously devastating loss against the most battered team injury wise in the NBA. Against the Pacers and in Miles Turner's return to Indy, this was almost a devastating, devastating loss. So it just that's really all it comes down to for me is that just got to stay disciplined and play without fouling, and that's all it is, especially against a Pacers team where you know that they aren't going to be able to be set up as much, and kind of being able to get into their actions as easily without their key point guards in this game. And they're just really going to give it to Pascal Siakam, give it to Aaron Neesmith, and all these guys that are going to try and draw contact, and that's really all it is. But with this game, we need to talk about Giannis as the potential front runner for MVP. Excuse me, in 25-26, the Bucks are now 5-2, and Giannis, I better get his stats up just so I'm sure that that I'm being 100% clear here with how dominant he's being, and I probably should have pulled this up beforehand. But through this past game, I believe it is. I hope it's updated now, but if anything, I believe Giannis still is possibly leading the league in scoring. We're gonna go, and round kind of because the stats I don't think they're completely accurate on Basketball Reference, but last that they said 34 points, 13 boards, 7 assists, um a steal, a block on what is the percentage? Oh, right, 68% shooting from the field, 62% from 3, 69% from the line, but he's getting to the free throw. Oh wait, no, that's in 2-point percentage. Getting to the line 11 times per game and shooting 64% from the free throw line, which, is pretty down. It's a down year sort of from the free throw line for Giannis. But Giannis is just controlling the game in every aspect, and that's what we obviously expected going into this year. But just the fact that the rest of the league is starting to see how well this lineup of Ryan Rollins now and will be KPJ when he comes back, probably Ryan Rollins, AJ Green, Gary Trent Jr., Giannis, Miles Turner, and with guys like Torian Prince and Cole Anthony coming into the fold, how well truly that these guys mesh together. And the fact that Giannis, surrounded by some of the best 3-point shooting complementary talent in the NBA, it leads to good things, and it has led to several impressive victories over pretty outstanding teams. And obviously, even without Giannis, the Bucks came out with a win. But that just goes to show you how solid the supporting group actually is. And now the fact that the rest of the league and the NBA world's kind of realizing, man, the Bucks might be for real. They might have a chance to compete for, maybe not to get out of the East, though that's what we're all hoping, to make somewhat of a deep postseason run, because this supporting group is really solid, and they know exactly how they want to play, and they know exactly what kind of actions they want to get into, where they just want to be a drive and kick based transition attack kind of team, where Giannis is the quarterback, and Gary Trent Jr. and AJ Green and Torian Prince, their job is just to fire from three with no hesitation. And people are starting to realize that this is really starting to gain steam, that Giannis can seriously win his third MVP award if the Bucks are able to keep up at this rate, and if the Bucks are able to land truthfully in the top 3 seeds in the Eastern Conference. If they can finish anywhere in the top 3, I think Giannis has maybe the best chance to win MVP, because we've seen in recent years, though, the NBA hasn't, they've been prone to give guys back-to-back MVPs, maybe 3 and 4 years, but the NBA doesn't really like repeats of anything, and especially with how the last 7 or so years have gone, where there's a new champion every year, whatever. Voter fatigue is as real as it's ever been, and that's probably the reason why Nikola Jokic didn't get the MVP this past year and Shea got it. But Shea had all this other narrative stuff that the Thunder won 68 games. This is their coming out party, blah blah blah. But this might be the time for Giannis to retake that kind of throne, because now that SGA has had his run, they've won the championship and finals MVP. Maybe the NBA is looking to kind of crown one of their guys that are like really towards their prime, as like one of the new faces of the NBA. definitively alongside Nikola Jokic and the Luka Doncic's and Shea's. And maybe they're trying to anoint Giannis as one of the greatest players. He already is, though, one of maybe, if not the greatest player of his generation. So this could be his true chance to capture his third MVP. And honestly, it might be the best that he has going forward. I mean, granted, we're going to be seeing this same kind of iteration of the team moving forward, but just with this momentum to start the season, he's already got a few MVP moments. This appears very, very early on as maybe his best chance to do so. But, anyways, that'll be it for me today. Thank you very much for tuning into another episode of Bucks Latest presented by Fan Arch. Once again, I've been Dean Simon, and before you go, please leave that like, leave that comment down below, and subscribe. Still trying to get to that 2,000 subscriber mark, so if you want to join on that journey, please do so. Turn on post notifications, and I will see you guys in the next one. Go Bucks.